So yeah, be very careful. Now he's at about 50% hit points. He's gonna swap to phase 2. Now he's swapping to Animo Wind Element, and his moveset are very different. Hi guys, this is Alex from Net Casuals, and today we're going to be playing Genshin Impact, and we're going to give you guys a guide on how to defeat Andrius, the Dominator of Wolves. Now we're going to go through a few basic steps before we actually get to the boss encounter, and on how to prepare basically to really increases your chance of actually beating the boss. Now step 1. Step 1 actually involves cooking. Whenever you head into a boss encounter, you're going to need to be really well prepared in terms of healing items, but also in terms of buffs. So make sure to go through whatever type of food that you have the recipes for, and try to find the better ones that are really going to help you have an edge in this encounter. In this case, I'm going to craft quite a few physical damage increase, and that's really going to help. Most of these materials you can actually buy through the cooking stations and stuff across the two towns. Yeah, right now we're just going to cook maybe a few. I tried to at least get 2 types of buff, an offensive one and a defensive one. Now for the defensive, party member, defense, these are the same values. So HP regeneration could also be useful actually. And we're also going to craft, I guess, a few healing items. So yeah, prepare a lot of healing items, and also you're going to have to be careful because whenever you're feeding your characters with healing items, they actually get full, so you cannot like spam them at infinite amount, you know. Now just a quick note, some of the ingredients can also be acquired in this tab over here, so based on the raw materials that you gathered. So make sure to just cook them in high quantities, and just whenever they're ready you're going to be able to obtain them. And yeah, that's basically it for having a large amount of these ingredients. The second step for this, before we head into this boss encounter, is going to be to select your optimal party. In my case, I'm going to take the Traveler, which is the main character. However, it will be important to change him from Animo to Geo, because the boss is Animo, so Wind, and he's also Frost, so Cryo. So you really want to get Geo instead. Now for the other characters, I am going to get Yang since, well, first of all, she's a fire character, which is going to be useful. But also she's really strong. You also, once you unlock her in the Spiral Abyss, you get a 4-star weapon for her. Also, that also helps quite a bit to power up this character. Even though the boss is a Frost character, in my case, I don't really have a ton of really good characters, so I am going to use Kaya, even though he's Cryo as well. So his element is not going to be as useful for me, but the way I'm going to use Kaya for is basically to take hits. Whenever I'm going to be like expecting attacks, or like after like a combo, I'm going to try and swap to Chaos so that he can take the blow and just be the sponge, you know. And the rest will depend on the characters that you have available to you. In my case, I'm going to use Barbara to heal in certain phases and certain times. I will have to be careful though, not to use the healing since it's a water when he's in frost mode, or it could be dangerous for me, it could freeze me. Now obviously for their equipments, we'll try to equip the better gear that you have. Personally, I tend to go very offensive in my type of weapons. I don't really take stuff that's going to give me shields. I try to take stuff that's going to give me attack or defense. Like right now this is both, but I mean if it was only attack, I'd definitely just get attack and try to enhance it and as high as possible, because it's going to really impact your damage. In my case, most of my main attacks are going to be done with my main character since he has the highest attack number. Obviously Yang and even Kaya will do some main attacks possibly. Just try to prioritize high damaging sets on your equipments and in your weapons. And for your sets, obviously as usual, try to always maximize your feathers, because this is what's going to increase your attack the highest basically in all your artifacts, since the other artifacts are more defensive based. If you feel that the boss is going to be too much damage, I mean you can rely on healing items obviously, but you can also increase some of your artifacts to gain more defensive bonuses. Now as I mentioned, you need to change your Traveler to at least Geo. Geo actually does a lot of bonus damage against this boss, so head to a statue of the 7 in the 2nd region and do resonate with Geo, and that's it. Your element has been changed to Geo. And also right now, unfortunately in my case, my Geo constellations are not really unlocked, so I can't really do them. I could be farming more of the sigils, of the geo sigils, to unlock this at the jewelry vendor, but it does require a pretty significant amount. I think it's 600, and I'm not quite there. Now for this next step, it's actually really simple. Just make sure to build up your ults before heading into the combat, so that's going to give you a tiny edge to really maybe push a bit more damage if you ever struggle quite a ton. So once you feel you're ready for the encounter, just head back to a shrine, heal up, and then start heading towards the boss. Now, one final tip before actually getting started, you can actually do this in co-op. If you are, you just press F2, and then you can request people to join, and they can help you with this encounter. In our case, we're going to do it solo for now, since we can really try to analyze and give you tips regarding the moves of the moveset of the bosses. Honestly, this boss, I feel that most of the attacks are somewhat telegraphed, and you can somewhat tell what type of move is going to come next, but we're going to try and analyze a bit more during the encounter. So once you're ready, you head to the challenge sword here, you command the trial, and you're ready to face Andrius. Now this fight is pretty badass, not gonna lie. The first thing you want to do, press pause and go into your inventory, and once you're doing this in single player, the game is paused. However, if you're doing this in co-op, the game is not paused, so you might need to use your buffing items before the encounter starts. So in our case, we're going to pop this food that's going to increase the damage, and we're also going to increase the defense of the party. Alright, so this move is really easy to dodge. He's just going to rush at you, and so you just have to know. The same for this. Whenever he does this thing, he is going to leap at you, so it is fairly easy. Just a lot of dodging and managing your stamina. The move that you need to look out for, that a lot of people get hit from, is whenever you're really close to him, sometimes he's going to move a little bit like his paws, I guess. It's going to look a bit like this, but without that animation on the ground, that visual. And he's going to swipe around him, just this move I'm talking about. Like, he moves one paw, and after that he's always going to like cleave around him, so you have to be careful. And that's pretty much most of his moveset. There is, for this first phase, there is one other moveset where he's going to actually like run around the stage and just dash randomly. So, I mean, most of these moves in phase 1 are really easy to dodge. So just pay attention and play defensively. Like, whenever you see him like move a little bit like that, just take a step back and be ready to just get back in there and hit him up. Whenever you think you're ready, just pop some ultimates in there, and also if you feel that you're too far to dodge, like you're not gonna make it in time, then just try to do a like more like a perfect dodge, like time it properly and just dodge at the last second. So yeah, I'm trying to get Kia out right now since I don't want my main character to take any damage, because he has the highest attack, and obviously I don't want him to die, and I don't want to heal him too much, or else I'll have to overfeed him. So in this case, you're just playing defensive and with a character that you don't care as much. In my case, it's Kia because he's Frost, and the boss is also Frost right now. And in phase 2, the boss is going to swap to a more wind phase, but he's still going to be, if I'm not mistaken, in his first phase, he's immune to wind, even though he's Frost, and in his second phase, he's also immune to Frost, even though he's wind. So just play it defensively, take your time, and be careful to dodge as much as possible. And yeah, everything should go well, mostly. And whenever you think you're going to take damage, just swap character. Now we're doing a lot of damage, big boy damage. Okay, so stay in the middle of the stage whenever he does this, because the outside is going to be frozen a little bit and is going to do damage to you. Also, be extremely careful when you're using a water character like Barbara in his Frost phase, because he could freeze you right now. Like, if I'd have my water aura on me and I'd walk on this frozen path, it would freeze me. I'd be stuck for a few seconds, so it could be dangerous. So yeah, be very careful. Now he's at about 50% hit points. He's gonna swap to phase 2. Now he's swapping to Animo Wind Element. and his moveset are very different. So this is the rain of I guess frost shards. They don't do that much damage, but they're somewhat easy to dodge for the most part. He also keeps some of his moves, but he also has more. He does a frontal shockwave, and his cleave seems to be a bit bigger, so be careful. There's also, like you just saw, the tail swipe. The tail swipe, in my case, it's more when I play in co-op that I tend to get hit by it. But it doesn't do, like, this boss in general does not do like a really big amount of damage in my opinion. And except maybe from the normal cleaves, these seems to be like the biggest damaging moves. There is another ability that he's probably going to do a bit later on that actually hurt. So I'm going to use Barbara to actually heal up the whole group without gaining a water aura. That way, like, I'm not going to get frozen if he does any frosting, like the frost shards, for example. Now you see he does he always gonna, like, his left back claw is always gonna do like a visual when he's gonna do a tail swipe, so just pay attention. And there's one move that we haven't seen him do yet, and it's like a massive blizzard type of thing. However, it doesn't do that much damage, so it's not too much trouble to actually stay in it to do damage. Whenever you see that little paw just lift, just try to do a perfect dodge to try and stay within the radius and do more damage. I'm actually taking quite a bit of damage right now. Oh, that was a bad swap. So yeah, right now if I try to use Frost, it doesn't do damage. And with Geo, the boss dies actually pretty quickly at first, and whenever you're not sure, just swap and... Oh, this is the world when I was the blizzard thing. So it doesn't do that much damage, it does a bit, but you can stand there and just take it and use this to do more damage during that phase. And that's it. This is a weekly encounter, so you can, it costs 60 Risen to collect the loot, but it's really good loot usually. And there's a chance that you're gonna get a, well, purple items, but more specifically the prototype that you need for a 4-star weapon, which I did not get in this case, unfortunately. I was really looking forward to a 4-star prototype for a one-handed sword. Now, as you can see, these are the possible rewards that you can get, and what I'm specifically looking for in my case was this, the Nordlander sword prototype for a 4-star weapon, basically, that you can craft at the blacksmith. There's a bunch of other, I mean, most rewards are really useful. And it says here treasure collected one-on-one, so I think this is a display bug, or I might be able to do it again, but basically you're supposed to be able to do this boss once weekly, and since I already did it, it should not show me a treasure collected one-on-one. It should actually show me a timer, like a weekly timer, which it does not. So I'm thinking I might be able to try the boss a second time. But you could also try to maybe do it like in a friends game. Maybe it's gonna let you collect the reward twice. Maybe. So this was the guide for Andrius, Dominator of Wolves. I hope that the video was useful to you guys. And the next boss that we're actually going to be covering is Storm Terror, since we can also do this boss weekly. And he does provide really good reward and is actually a very challenging encounter as well. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like, subscribing, and even joining our Discord. Alright, thank you guys. See you later.